Oliver Twist. The dark, mysterious, modern, and funny Oliver Twist features some of the most mentally drawn villains in all fiction. Well, at least that's what it says back here. Right now, we have loads of things to actually talk to you guys about. One of them being the fact that Oliver Twist is now in a really big rampage. Right now, we're going to summarize chapter 30 to 51. Also, some books actually give it all the way to 53, and in my book, it's until 51. So that works, and let's get started with. So Oliver, last we left off, he's shot, bang, 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 bang. That happens. He's left in a ditch. And after he somehow recovers just enough so that he can move back to the house, he knocks on the door and then falls on the ground like this. Knock, knock, knock. Collapse. Meanwhile, Fagin and Bill and the other guy who was with them return to the hideout, and Fagin asks, "Where's Oliver Twist? We left him in a ditch to die." And like, what? And like, what? Why? What's supposed to happen? This guy named Monks said to turn him into a safe permanently and not get him dead. So Bill and the others look at each other like, uh-oh. I mean, that's not exactly what happens. Turns out every story has its own variation of it, but in my book, what actually happens is the fact that, well, Fagin goes ahead and cries out of disbelief and says, "Is he a thief?" He warned the people, though, so maybe not. And they're like, "You gotta be kidding me!" Yeah, Fagin goes on a rampage, or in the book they call it the Jew, until chapter 38. That happens, and the Fagin goes on a rampage, Bill gets on a rampage, and yeah, that sort of happens. After Oliver somehow gets recovered enough just to go there, and it falls back again, the doctor of the house, Mrs. Rose, comes to take care of him, and afterwards, after taking care of him for a while, and the police come in like, "Hello? Yes? Yes? Hey, we got the boy who was shot, okay? Yes? Yes? Okay. Good deal. Good. See ya." And they look at Oliver and like, "Why does he look so familiar?" And then they look at each other and they're like, "Let's see. Let's just say that we made a mistake and this is not the same boy. The same boy who we shot. Also, he does have a bullet wound. We're gonna need to dress that really quick." So they hide the bullet wound and everything, and they're like, "Hey, so this is another boy who just came to our door, knocked and collapsed. He must have typhoid fever." That happened. The police take a disinterest in him, and they're like, "Yippee!" in their minds. They're like, "Yippee!" in their minds. And that happens. After they get Oliver to recover just enough so that he could talk and start answering some questions, this happens. Oliver starts talking about the circumstances he was. He told his life story, at least the parts of his life that he knows. And then Nancy comes ahead and knocks on the door, and they say, hey, meet me on the bridge at like 12 p.m. at night. Afterwards, Mrs. Rose is like, okay. Fagin, meanwhile, is still rampaging and everything and making Bill to go find him again. He's not at the ditch, so that kind of worries him. And then Fagin also says, he's not, yeah, and then like Bill's like, "Hey, that's not important." And Fagin's like, "You stupid oaf! He can tell us where we are right now, and I have nowhere else to go because everyone else is either rented or owned or being lived by someone." So Bill is like, uh-oh, and he goes ahead, and they go there, and they go on a really big search for Oliver again, and they realize Nancy's missing. Oh, at least not yet. Meanwhile, new guy Noah from like the previous chapters who bullied an overgrown boy who bullied Oliver by taunting about his mom and shedding crocodile tears. Bless you. Comes in with his lover, turns out also his other apprentice, and they're like, "Hey, I want to go to Quran. Here's the money. You keep it safe." Also, in Noah's mind, he's like, "Hey, if they find the money, they'll find it on her, and I can blame it on her, saying, 'Wait, I thought that was your savings you just told me.'" Oh, bless you again. Anyway, so that happens. Also, I'm not sure lots of people will probably believe him. Noah will probably also still be a criminal. So the criminal comes in, they go into the tavern, and they are overheard, and to talk about it, crime life, very, very, very publicly. And then it turns out no one's interested in them, but only one person overhears them. And it's Fagin. Lucky them. So Fagin overhears them. He's like, "Hey, it was her savings. She told me it was her savings." Noah quickly sputters. And then his lover like, what are you talking about? As Fagin says, you're lucky that I'm the only one who told you. Looks like you want to rob and crime, eh? Please, it's her who did the stealing stuff. Like, that happens, and then you're like, no, that doesn't matter who stole it. You want to rob and crime or not? Like, what do you care about it, old man? Like, because I am a criminal too, and I'm looking for recruits because I just lost my best man. Like, nice chance, we can become his next best man, at least in this brain. So Noah goes ahead and gives up a deal with him, and then his first job is to spy on Nancy's conversation. And they talk about it, and it turns out Noah overhears everything about the fact that, hey, and tells them about everything about Oliver Twist, at least what they know, and Monk's calling him my brother. That happens. And Noah comes back, reports everything, and Fagin, and decides to hey, let's just make Bill believe that Nancy betrayed us. Wonder what he'll think about it. Then we might be able to get rid of him forever. Or he may be Nancy. Also, maybe not both. We need at least one. That happens. They tell Bill that Bill's really furious, goes ahead, murders Nancy. Okay, they got rid of Nancy. Okay. And afterwards, Bill goes on a spree, running away from the murder of Nancy. And public people start chasing him. Well, at least he tries to escape. He found some old rope. He tries to drown his dog because he's afraid of people finding out that it's him! It's the criminal! But then, the dog, too smart! Bullseye, too smart! Runs away! And then he comes back, away later. So, Bullseye follows Bill onto the rooftop. Bill doesn't notice the dog. And then Bill, this happens. He decides to escape from the police because it turns out they're chasing him. He ties a rope onto a chimney still, and also the other end as a noose, just enough so that he could slip it on him, so he could tighten it again so that he could swing from one building to another. Also, that is a really bad idea because it resembles a noose. So he does that, sinks, he sees the ghost of Nancy, gets terrified, falls off the building, slips off the building. The noose doesn't go into his body, but it goes onto his neck and strangles him to death. He basically suicided by accident. Wow, accidental suicide. That happens. His dog tries to save him, falls down to his death again because he hit some bricks too hard, and Master and dog are both dead. Well, they lost both Nancy and Bill. What a bad time. A few days later, Fagin is captured. The Artful Dodger is also captured. And then another one of the Artful Dodger's friends decides, hey, crime does not pay. I'm gonna get an honest job. So he does that. Monks is finally captured by Mr. Brownlow, and he tells him the whole story again. Also, luckily he's released because he testifies against, my book, testifies against Fagin. And literally reveals them crimes, literally a bit of them. And the Monks goes ahead afterwards, got half of his will, the money from his will, because it turns out Oliver Twist is rich. His dad left him a huge sum of money. It turns out the reason why Monks wants Oliver to become a thief is because if Oliver becomes a thief, because in the will it says that if any one of the brothers becomes a criminal, then his of the inheritance will be passed on to the other brother. If both doesn't really say anything about what happens if both of the brothers become criminals, but I'm really sure that's not gonna affect any of this. So Oliver's money isn't with Monk's, but Monk's money is still with his. So Monk's uses part of it to go to New World, spends all of his inheritance money, goes back into the life of crime, and then he dies after he's jailed. What a sad ending for Monk's. Well, Oliver lives a happy life. Although his best friend's dead, he's sad about that. He goes ahead and uses some of the money he has to actually go ahead and help the people at the orphanage that he was in Mudrow. Yeah, whatever that town's name is. And that's the end of the melodrama of Oliver Twist. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode, and I hope to see you guys soon again. Until next time, Shanhan out. Peace.